All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Nourished Thriving Show. I'm your host, Katie Lovett, registered dietitian. And I have here with me tonight, Haley Eckert, registered dietitian, who is also here at Nourish and Thrive. And we're so happy to be here. So grateful for your time here tonight, Haley. And yeah, we're a little later start of our live than normal because I was cheering on a T-ball team in the first round of playoffs. So had to be there for that. They are advancing, so it was worth being a little late. They're really cute. So anyway, so we're glad to have you guys here. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you go subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our new videos that drop, any of our new live streams. Give this show a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people and get them this important information. And I think tonight's episode is something that a lot of people are really going to want to watch. So a lot of people are kind of curious about blood sugar, and we've been talking about blood sugar the past few weeks. We had Karen Kennedy on, who authored the book Hack Your Blood Sugar. I've talked some about blood sugar by myself in a couple of episodes. And one thing that people are doing for blood sugar is wearing a CGM, or a continuous glucose monitor. And what this is it looks like a little round white circle that people will have on the back of their arms, or sometimes there's like a sticker on top of it that's a color or flesh colored. It looks like a bandage. So a lot of people might be really curious about these, but also intimidated or don't understand them, or aren't sure what kind of information they might be able to get from it. And so Haley and I know Haley more so than me, had a lot of people asking her about them and kind of showing interest in them, especially in your role and work in more like clinical weight loss settings that I have not had. So we decided to wear them ourselves for a couple of weeks, and not because we have diabetes, which is, the original reason that they were made was for people who have diabetes. Not for that reason, but because we just wanted to better understand our own bodies. I think we're both, wanting to always optimize, and we're interested in our own health. That's why we work in this field. And we're also interested in the health of others. And so we wanted to understand this experience as users, so that we could really help our patients and clients better, if they were interested in using them for their own health. I think one really cool thing and a big takeaway for me with the CGM experiment was that sometimes what we think our body is doing and what's actually happening in our body are very different things. So Haley, I don't know if you can agree with that statement or not.
You just never know.
You never know. You don't know until you know. I said something to my dad a few months ago whenever he was asking me about nutrition. I said, well, Dad, you can't change what you don't track. Like, it's hard to know where you're at sometimes. And so we're going to give you guys some specific examples of things we learned with our continuous glucose monitors while we were using them later in this show. So stay tuned for that. But before we jump into all of that, I think it's important for people to understand what these even are. There may be some people watching that haven't heard of this before. Haley, do you want to take it away and explain a CGM?
Yeah, it's just a little a sensor that you can stick on your arm usually, and it will just track in real time your blood sugar. I think it updates every 1 and every 3 minutes, I think. And so it just collects your interstitial fluid, the glucose in that. And so you download an app, and you can see in real time blood sugar. You can see what happens while you're fasting, overnight, after meals, and you can also see how stress affects it if you know that you are stressed in a moment. So it's just immediate feedback on your real life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think a really interesting point also that I didn't know in the beginning before I started really kind of looking into CGMs is it's not actually checking your blood sugar. It's checking
The
it's checking checking the glucose in your interstitial fluid. Yeah. So if you think about, getting your blood drawn and the needle that goes for that, like in your arm or something, that feels scary thinking about that being in your arm all the time. But it's not because it's measuring the fluid just under your skin. I wish I had saved mine. I was thinking that earlier today to show people. Does Haley have one?
Yeah, but I don't even think you would be able to see the needle. It is so, I mean, it's the like 2 millimeters. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like a flexible filament. Like it's not even stiff. It's
Well, I
it's really
can attest to the not stiff part.
Yeah. I'll share that with us later. But yeah, so it's not this big needle. It's very small. Honestly, if you've ever pricked your finger for checking your blood sugar, that's what it felt like to me when I put it on. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it hurt a lot less, actually.
Okay. Yeah, it hurt less than pricking.
And then, I don't know, after blood work, getting that pinched, like it kind of stings afterwards. And I feel like you can feel where you did get pricked, but I don't feel like that with putting it on. I could tell because I put it on my stomach when I bent over that it hurt a little bit, but that's
it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not putting it on.
Let's talk about location though, because I mentioned it goes on the back of the arm. That is the official FDA approved location for wearing these is on the back of your arm here. And really on the back, because you don't want to do it on the side because you can like knock it against a door frame, even though it doesn't stick out that much. Like we are so used to navigating our bodies through things that you can like knock it. So really on the back of your arm. But tell us about the stomach and why you chose to try it there and how that was. You can do it on your stomach too. I
don't know where to put it on the stomach though, honestly, because that was the second one I put on was on my stomach. Because the first one fell off. I thought it was like from sweat or working out. But then I put the second one on my stomach, and after 6 days, it failed. So, and when I took it off, the needle was bent. But I think like I could tell anytime I bent over, I could feel it. Or working out, I was rowing actually, and I could feel that. So I don't know the right place to put on the stomach.
Yeah, everything I've read says like an inch or two to the right or left of your belly.
I did that. I got a ruler too.
Yeah. Dietitian of you. I'm very short-waisted. Also, I don't have a lot of real estate in my torso, and I wear very high-waisted pants. So I'm like my waistband would hit right where that goes. So I don't think maybe if someone wears like a lower rise in their pants or something.
Who does that now?
Yeah. I don't know. So you don't think it hurt? And I think you're right. I think it was kind of that stinging sensation afterwards that reminded me of pricking my finger for a blood sugar check. It kind of like, because it uses force, because that filament is flexible. Because I was showing it to my kids and they're like, how does this go in you? It's bendy. But it's because it inserts it with a lot of force. And so it is kind of like that after, I don't know how you explain it, that stinging kind of feeling. But it's not bad.
No, it went away immediately too.
Yeah, so easier or harder than you expected, I guess, to put it on and then wear it?
Easier than I expected to put it on. It really was just pressing it in there. It was easier to put on my stomach than on my arm just because it could be flatter. But and then wearing it, I mean, I haven't worn one for 2 weeks yet because both of them have failed. So I think the back of the arm will be better.
You haven't tried one on the back of your arm at all yet?
No, the first one I did, and it came off, and so I thought maybe I'll try it on my stomach, but that one failed. So
well, I accidentally threw like the sticker away that goes over it, the cover. And so I just wore mine, and it does have like medical grade adhesive with it. The sticker is really just extra insurance. But I wore mine for 2 weeks without it, and so I was just really careful. But again, I don't work out as intensely as you do. Like I lift weights at my house, but I'm not doing like CrossFit and stuff like you do, and high intensity stuff. But I would just be really careful in the shower. There were a couple of times I was like putting a shirt on and, like the like stitch under your arm. It was like, would like get caught and I'd be like, oh no, I'm going to rip it off. But I never did. And like, I didn't put lotion, like, so if it was here, and you can kind of still see a dot. I don't know if I was a little bit allergic to the adhesive because you can still kind of see a dot. But if it was here, I wouldn't put any lotion like anywhere like in that area just because I didn't want to like reduce.
Yeah, I think I might have been allergic a little bit too because it itched on my stomach a lot. So I mean, it wasn't bad, but
yeah,
I knew it was there.
Yeah, you knew it was there. So that was my next question. Did you ever just forget you were wearing it?
If it wasn't itching, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't, and especially on the back of the arm, I didn't feel it at all.
Yeah. I didn't feel mine, but it was always in the back of my head. I would not be a good person to wear all the time because I was like constantly wanting to get sugar. I could get like OCD tendencies with it. Like blood sugar. Like I get up in the morning, like, what's my fasting blood sugar? I want to know. And yeah, so I would not be a good candidate to wear it.
Yeah, it has what is it, prime for an hour? 3 hours maybe? I don't know. Like where it primes it at the beginning. Is it just 60 minutes? Anyways, I was very impatient. It doesn't work right away. So
like whenever you first put it on, what you need by me is it takes an hour for any of the data to start coming in. So you're like sitting there like, okay. Okay, Archie Rose says, I didn't know you had to stab yourself to wear a glucose monitor. It's not like with a knife, but it is something that goes into your skin, right, to check check the fluid. Do you have it with you? I was annoyed with myself for not saying because we used it this night. You thought technology made it possible to read through the skin. No. So that's what you use to like put it on with?
Yeah, so you just, there's nothing in there. So you just do, I don't know if you can see. You just poke it like that, and that's it.
And it presses on. It's like a stamp. It's like a stamp with a little tiny like film. It's 2 millimeters, you said. So it's tiny. But yeah, it's a little bit less than a finger stick for like a glucometer. Where you like use the machine and it like jabs you with a little needle and you squeeze the blood out and test it.
No blood is drawn.
It's not blood. It's not even getting into a blood vessel. It's like the fluid just right under your skin. So I mean, gosh, it's probably like that long and like, as big around as like the tip on this pen.
Or a mechanical pencil, like the
mechanical pencil lead. That's 2 millimeters, right? As a pencil.
Oh, that's right.
And it's flexible too, like it's bendy. It just uses force to get it under that skin.
And if you pinch it, you can pinch the skin around, your arm around it. That is a real deterrent, I think, for some people. They've asked, does it hurt? And truly, it does not hurt putting it on. You feel it very briefly there, and it goes away immediately.
Yeah. Less than a fire ant sting.
Yeah.
Certainly less than that. So, and I'm like, I used to pass out every time I got a shot or got my blood drawn. Like I wasn't even really afraid of needles consciously. It just became this thing where I like would go in and tell the nurse, like, I'm going to pass out. Just lay me down. Like, just let me start laying down so I don't get hurt. So Keith, yes, we're going to talk about some names and stuff. He wants to know the name so we can Google it. So maybe we should jump into that. Okay, wait. Does it poke and read or does it insert? It inserts and stays for 2 weeks. So that little filament stays under your skin for 2 weeks. Maybe I should share my screen.
I was like, I could put one on right now. I have that third one.
Ooh, you gonna wear one? Should Haley do a live? Like Haley tries.
What if I mess up?
Right.
I'll have to find that one, but yeah.
See here. Let me see if I can find a picture for us.
Well, the Lingo website has a.
Oh, here, I found a picture. Are you putting one on? Or are you gonna just?
Let me.
You don't have to. No pressure.
See if
I found an image that I can share. You can decide. You can take the episode and decide if you want to put it on to the grand finale. Oh wait. There. You guys see that? So that's what the filament looks like. So like this is the sticker, and then this sticks out of your arm, but this is a big one. I don't know what brand this is.
I was gonna say, I wonder also because it's not inside of the cartridge, which you can't really see how long it is.
Yeah. Keith, if you did dry needling and injections, like
yeah.
Here.
Yeah. It's not poking anything.
This is way easier. So yeah, but yeah, so this stays under your skin. I'm moving my cursor around like you guys can see it, but I know you can't. So the little thing that's sticking up, it stays under your skin for the whole 14 days that you wear the monitor. And then you have an app on your phone that connects to it based on which brands that you're getting, which we're about to get into the different types of CGMs. And you can log your food, you can log your sleep, you can log your stress levels, you can log your exercise. So you can do all of those logs. And then what's important is to then track what you're doing and how it's affecting your blood sugar. Does that make sense? So you're getting like real live, immediate feedback on things. And Haley and I are going to show you guys some examples in a minute. But I think people imagine these devices as being much more intimidating than they really are. So yeah, it's not too big of a deal. So let's get into kind of the types of CGMs because you guys are curious about this. So there's prescription, and that was what was out first. And then there's over the counter, and over the counter just became available in the US in 2024. So that is something you don't need a prescription for. You just order online like you would a lipstick or earrings from Amazon. Right? I think one of them actually is on Amazon.
Yeah.
So the prescription ones, the brands are Dexcom and Libre. They were originally created for people who had diabetes and like insulin, they were on insulin and they were needing that real feedback. I went over to a friend's house one time who had a toddler with type 1 diabetes. And I had never thought before of the intensity of that situation of being a parent with a young child who's unable to communicate or recognize those signs of high or low blood sugar. She had like a big screen on her fireplace with his blood sugar displayed on it. She had alarms on her Apple Watch with his blood sugar. Like they had all these alarms because he was so young. He could not tell her if he was bottoming out with his blood sugar. And they had those big displays because he had a continuous glucose monitor on. So imagine before that technology was available, the only way they would know what this little guy's blood sugar was by pricking his finger and checking it. And think about kids and needles, and so having to do one poke every 2 weeks for somebody who has diabetes is much better, and you're getting much more consistent feedback. You said checking it like every couple of minutes, right? So those parents can react much more quickly than they would otherwise. They'd have to start, just watch them for signs, of blood sugar before, and by then, some damage can already be done. So they're truly life-saving for people who are on insulin. But yeah, so Dexcom and Libre are the two brands really for over-the-counter and prescription. Or no, Abbott is Lingo. So Dexcom and Abbott is who does Libre, right?
Yeah, and Dexcom is Med Vantage. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because of the N.
Yes, I almost medicine it. That's a separate company. But anyways, there's two companies that have the whole that own everything. So there's two prescriptions, and those are the Dexcom and the Libre, and then there's over the counters, and that's Stelo, which is the same brand as the Dexcom, and Lingo, which is the same family as Libre. And each of them have their own respective apps, like we were talking about. And they were very expensive. Insurance sometimes can be tricky to cover them. And so these new over-the-counter ones, and you have to have diabetes, right? So these new over-the-counter ones are really, for people who are more in that pre-diabetes range or just wanting to optimize their health and all of that. So I don't know, Haley, what do you have to add to that? I'm sure you have more things to add.
I think they're usually integrated with the clinic, like the ones that are prescribed. So that information goes back to the doctor, which is very helpful. Another thing is the alarms that I don't think you can change, especially the low. That alarm will go off, but they need to know that. So,
Yeah.
And I think the upper alarm, I know for some people it's 250. Because at some point you need to call the doctor too, like if it reaches a certain level. So I think that's one of the biggest differences is the integration for sure, and then the alarms settings.
Yeah. So what you're saying is like the prescription CGMs have alarms on them. And this is, again, a life-saving measure for people who have diabetes. That's who these are created for. You cannot turn off the low alarm.
Yeah.
And so that's actually part of my experience. So the enzyme that is in these little glucose monitors, that's why it's good for 14 days, is because the enzyme runs out, but it requires oxygen to function in order to read your glucose. And so if you're somebody who sleeps on your back or sleeps on that arm or stuffs it under a pillow and lays on top of your arm or on top of a pillow, if that makes sense, like me, your arm is not getting any oxygen exposure to that CGM. And so that CGM cannot read your blood sugar levels. And so it's going to think you're going low. And it will go off with alarms in the middle of the night multiple times.
Yeah.
No way to turn that off on a prescription one. But Haley and I, if you're wearing a prescription CGM, can see your data. We can like live stream see your blood sugar chart and graph and all of your food logs and exercise and all of that. So that's a huge plus. But the alarms, I think, were not ideal. For the over-the-counter ones, the Stelo, there is a way to see that information. It's just a little bit difficult to access. The Lingo, there's not a way for us to see it on the back end. So you would actually have to, like, if you're our patient, you would have to share your screen while we were on a call for us to see what you're doing, which I've done that, and it's been fine.
Yeah.
It's been fine. And then I will say, too, I think the over-the-counter one, specifically Lingo, does, which you've used Lingo now, right?
That was the first, the one that we got from Thea.
Yeah. Their app, we've gotten a lot better feedback from. Like, it gives you like in-app recommendations based on your patterns of things to try, right?
So did you say Lingo or Libre?
Lingo.
Yeah. Yes, and I think I just didn't have it all long enough, but I think the longer you wear it, the AI gets a little bit smarter and can actually tailor a little bit to you. But yeah, it was like take a walk or high protein, low carb, little messages to you.
It'll like pop up like, hey, your blood sugar is going up after that meal. Maybe go for a 5-minute walk. And which you shared one of that. We'll watch and see kind of what a walk did for you in a minute, which I'm glad that you did that. So yeah, that's great. It gives you like real life feedback. So you're not even like, we can help you look for larger patterns, which I think is really important. But with the app too, like the over-the-counter app, where they're not counting on you to be working with a healthcare provider, they're going to give you some feedback right away that you can start to do. And so the way my patients have been doing this is they'll kind of experiment with some of the recommendations the app is giving them on a day-to-day basis. And then when we meet, they're like, oh, well, the app recommended this and this really worked well for me. Like that was a huge observation that I had. And so, we can kind of celebrate that together. But yeah, I think the best option really depends on your goals of like, why are you wearing a CGM? Is it just because you think it's cool and you want to learn more about your body, kind of like me and Haley, or are you wanting to see if your blood sugar is contributing to kind of plateauing in a weight loss journey? Or is it, you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, and your blood sugar is really, or maybe, you're eating really clean. We talked about this with parents. I'm like, you're eating clean, you're eating low carb, and your A1C is still creeping up. And you're like, what is causing this to do this? The CGM can really help you pinpoint some of that. So your goals, your budget, and then what level of support that you really want from it. So, yeah. And just having the data, if you don't know what to do with the data, just having the data itself is not the magic. Knowing what to do with it is really what's important and what's going to be able to drive change for you.
Yeah. I think that's another overwhelming, or people think it's going to be overwhelming with the data. They just don't know what to do with it. And so then they don't see the point in wearing it. So I think that has come up a lot too.
Yeah.
But I have seen people after they've worn one for a while because it was just recommended. And then, I mean, if it's not cheap to just wear and not do anything with it. So, yeah. Know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And
this, I don't want this to sound insensitive, but I think a tricky place with these for people to be also is they think that just wearing a CGM, by just wearing a CGM, they're doing something.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were saying. And yes, that's a great step to doing something with your health. But in order to see results, you have to actually take action from those observations that you're making. And that's where having help from somebody like us can be really helpful.
Yeah.
The part 2 of right?
Well, I had to take my own advice, so.
No, right? Okay, maybe we have a lot of questions and comments in the chat. So let's kind of just scroll through. Really cool that you can see the info. Yes, it is. You might have addressed this, but where would you insert the CGM to not have the best readings?
To not have the best?
Yeah. So where would it be? Where would you not want to put it on?
I think the waistband area for sure, especially if they are tighter pants, because it will just press on that. For me, I mean, the back of the arm probably is the best place to put it. It's just knowing that if you do sleep on that arm, that will be some false lows.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and that's something to know too. If you're wearing one and it keeps bottoming out to 50 every night, but you're not having symptoms, it's probably just you're sleeping on your arm. You know, it's called a pressure low. It's not actually low. You're not shaking and feeling really weak or anything. So yeah, I wouldn't wear it on your leg too much. You're going to be moving so much with your leg. I don't feel like that would be a great location. And again, I think I don't know, your calf, I don't know that you would have enough fat on it. And then your thigh, things are going to bump up against it and rub on it a lot. Yeah, the 2 places I've seen recommended are your back of your arm and your stomach, which we've kind of talked about the stomach things. So, and then your CGMs give you insurance discounts, like driving with a car with a monitor.
Wow.
My initial response to this was no, because insurance companies don't make money if they're healthier.
Yeah. Or they also don't cover them. So at all.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Future.
But yeah, no, you unfortunately don't get an insurance discount for being healthy.
I mean, maybe that is something in the future.
Maybe.
That some plans, like the employee wellness plans, opt into. That would be great.
Yeah, I think right now we're in the place where employers are just giving benefits like access to a gym and stuff like that, or discounted access to a gym, but I don't think that they're giving cash incentives to pay less each month for changes, unfortunately. Okay, so top things that surprised you. I don't know. I think we want to share some of these pictures here. You can wear more than one at a time. Yeah. So we actually talked about Haley doing that because she wasn't sure how accurate the stomach was. So we talked about her putting one on the arm, but then the stomach fell off. But yeah, you totally can if you want to. See, Be careful though, like not to get like obsessed with the details. And this is something we talked about with Karen. The FDA regulations allow it to be within 20% of the true number in order for it to be fine. So if you think about that, that's a pretty big range. Like if blood sugar is 100, it can be anywhere from 80 to 120, 80 to 120 on the monitor and still technically be within compliance, which is a very wide range, you know. And so some people will actually check their blood sugar in their finger first, and then you want to wait like, is it 15 minutes? Is that right? What we decided?
Yeah, to go after.
Yeah, and then wait 15 minutes and see what the CGM says, because there is a little bit of a delay, right? Because CGM's measuring interstitial fluid, finger prick is measuring blood. So to kind of make sure that the CGM is see where it's reading, right? And then you basically would just do a mental calculation. So, okay, my blood sugar said 98, my CGM said 108. So I'll know that my CGM is actually showing about 10 points higher than what my actual blood sugar is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's still compliant. So I'm just going to know that, you know, and really with this, we're looking at patterns anyways, and not absolute numbers all the time. So we can kind of look at a few of these here. I'm not sure which ones are first. Haley, I'm going to show your walking one first.
Oh,
and not because it says walk really big on it.
So I would not forget.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that was a walk after dinner. And it ended up being like, it was supposed to be a 30, 45-minute walk. It probably was an hour and 15. But my blood sugar, and that was on for at least a couple days. So I don't know that the number is right, but I think the trend down is right. And so the point of that is just knowing that that is one of the tools to use to lower your blood sugar after meals is walking. And that one lowered it pretty significantly. But typical recommendations are just like 10 to 15 minutes of walking. I don't think I have it up there, but after one meal, I saw that it was kind of increasing pretty steadily. And so calf raises and squats are also recommended just because of the muscles that are used. And so I did a couple sets of each of those, just body weight, and it brought blood sugar back down to pretty normal range right after that too.
Very cool. Okay, so let's like orient people to what this was. So this was May 9th, that's the date. And you click these arrows to go back and forth. This top line, can you see it? Is it 160?
140.
140. So you were able to change yours to 140, and then the bottom is
70.
70.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see like her blood, this blue line is her blood sugar is flowing up and down. So
and you can add like a little, this is the lingo one, and so you can add an event like walking or food or something. I think stress is one of them too.
Yeah.
But you can just mark it in that.
Which app was that?
Lingo.
So that was the Lingo, the native Lingo app. So Lingo is one of the over-the-counter ones, and that was the one we were saying people liked a lot.
It's pretty easy to use. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But with food, you just type it in, right? And there's not necessarily macronutrients.
Can you? No. So I would just, no, you don't actually log anything. You just write the note of what it was. And so if I knew macros, I put that in, just so I could see like how many, if the carb count was suitable for me. But yeah, you just type in the meal.
It is. Mm-hmm. So that I would say is maybe like one not great thing about the Lingo.
Yeah. You would have to use 2 apps if you were tracking your food, which is annoying.
It is annoying. But, it's better than nothing. I think, like you were saying, like I've had patients where it's like, okay, they didn't have a huge spike if they had 40 grams of carbs at a meal. But if they had 50 grams of carbs at a meal, it went crazy. And so we knew like, hey, try and keep your carbohydrate to less than 40. Try and get like 5 to 7 grams of carbs at that meal if you're going to have a 40 gram of carb meal. Oh, wait, did I say fiber first?
Carb.
Okay, try and get 5 to 7 grams of fiber if you're going to have 40 grams of carbs at a meal to keep that from spiking up. And so you wouldn't necessarily get all that insight with that. So that would be where if we were reviewing a patient's lingo log and we saw those spikes after those meals, we'd maybe say, okay, hey, use this other app to log those meals so we can better get an idea of where you're sitting with that stuff.
And it didn't take long at all to actually just log, yeah. 3 items. You're not putting amounts or anything. So it's just making a mental note so that you can know what that reflection is.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to share one of mine. This was the one that I mentioned last week, and it was crazy. I was going to pick up kids and did not eat lunch. And you could see my blood sugar was kind of around 100, and then it went a little bit down after I ate. And then I had a Spindrift and a Go Macro white chocolate macadamia bar, and it spiked to like 166. Haley, can you believe this? From a Spindrift to a Go Macros bar.
No, not that bar. Yeah.
So I think it says it was 93 as my baseline. So it was 93 before I ate, and then it spiked like 70, 75 points, 70 points. And then it came back down pretty quickly. I think it says down here like 2 hours to stabilize. But then I was thinking about it too, and I was like, well, generally, if I haven't had lunch and I'm rushing out the door to get kids, I'm decently stressed out, like trying to rush and get somewhere. So I wonder how much of that was stress induced. So I normally save these bars for those kind of emergent situations, but maybe I should have one at like a nice leisurely, as if I have a lot of benefits.
Like you wouldn't have that for a meal, so
have it for a snack at home sometime this summer when I'm home a little bit more, when I'm not stressed out, and put a CGM back on and see what happens. But I was really surprised and kind of sad by that. Like, man, I really like those bars. But that was crazy. Okay, let's show one of yours again, Haley. I don't know which one this is, so we're just.
It was very sad for me. Very sad. And something else on Lingo is they give you a count, and I haven't worn it long enough for it actually to adjust for me, but it gives you 60 points. And so this used 4. That is banana bread, and that was the thinnest slice of banana bread I have ever had. I just wanted to taste it. I hadn't had anything to eat that day yet.
Okay, so it's fasting.
And my blood sugar was pretty stable. Like I don't think that's actually the right number, but it was stable. That was immediate, and so I think it doesn't show the picture, but it dropped below baseline. Yeah, so I think that's also the what?
It crashed after your body released all the insulin.
Yeah. So I think that's like in the afternoon. A lot of times this happens with us and we go to a snack or something sugary. It's usually because you can kind of correlate it to that crash right there. But that was, that was not even a real piece of banana bread. So
was it homemade?
Yeah.
Homemade banana bread?
Yeah. And I didn't make it. So I don't know the sugar content of it.
Yeah.
But my thought was I'm not going to not eat banana bread. So either it's going to be after a workout or I just try to make something with less sugar and see what it does. Because I was going to experiment with banana bread again while wearing it just to see what it did.
You could totally use like a paleo banana bread or like sell like half almond flour for the flour. Yeah. Or the way I like to eat banana bread, or my mom makes zucchini bread, is like I toast it in the toaster oven with some butter, and I do it with breakfast. So I'll do like scrambled eggs. So like have your eggs first and then banana bread and see if it causes it to crash.
Yeah. So that was a reason for me to just wear it again to experiment with that.
And I think that's a huge takeaway, you guys. Like Haley's not just like, oh, I can never have banana bread again.
Oh, that's not like
it sparks curiosity. You're like, well, I wonder if I do it this way or change that, if my body has a better response.
Yeah.
And even if those answers are no, like you said, you're not going to not ever have banana bread again, but you're maybe just going to be more mindful that, hey, my body's not going to have a great reaction, but it's a treat, and that's okay sometimes.
And that, I'm okay with it not being perfect, but I just wanted to experiment. And then something I'm not sure if my actual meal at 2 would have been that, or if my blood sugar was just kind of um, not stable after.
Like rebounding, like
Yeah, kind of. So
here. But it is not as sharp of a hill.
no,
So
it
it's
didn't turn purple.
yeah, it's not as sharp of like that peak and valley.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think it probably. Um, I don't know if it went up over like
Yeah.
40 or 50, but it just was immediate.
Yeah. It was very fast. And then that,
Mhm.
did you find yourself feeling like hangry later when you were kind
I
of,
was already very hungry
were you,
because I had
yeah,
eaten anything. So I don't know.
you
And I'm
know,
trying to think of what I had for that meal. Probably
yeah.
was not the best, but yeah, I was just curious. Maybe it was because it's still kind of rebounding.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. The next one I'm going to show, I think is interesting too. Okay, this is rosé. Well, it says it's rosé wine. It was actually Chardonnay, but it was in pink glass, so it thought it was rosé.
AI.
But you guys, look, my blood sugar went down after having it. So I think I'd done something. I think I had worked out or something. So my blood sugar went up with my workout, and then afterwards it was coming down. And I poured myself a glass of white wine. We were all hanging out, and you can see my blood sugar continuing to go down. And what this does, like, it's not that like wine is good for you.
Yeah.
Your blood sugar is going up. Drink a glass of wine. That's not the answer here. But it's your liver is prioritizing detoxing the wine, clearing the alcohol from your body, and not clearing the not worrying about the blood sugar as much. So it kind of causes your blood sugar to go down. But like if you ever have a glass of wine and then feel like shaky a little bit, if you've had it on an empty stomach, that's what this reaction is. So it's interesting. Some people, I think, do have wine and see their blood sugar go up, though, but that was not the case. Look, I got a 93 score from my wine.
Oh, it did turn.
93. But yeah, it did go down. I think some people do see that it goes up after having a glass of wine, but
Do you
mine,
think it's with it's just wine only, or with appetizers or something?
yeah, maybe, well, and maybe like if your inhibitions are like lowered, like,
Uh-huh.
or maybe you're being more social, having a glass of wine with friends, you're at a restaurant, and yeah, maybe it's the pairings of other things that is happening with versus the wine. This was just at home, we weren't out. I think I was cooking dinner. We were sitting out in the garden watching the kids play, and having a glass of wine together. But yeah, that was interesting for sure.
I tested the wine too. I was happy to know that it did not.
Didn't
It didn't do anything because I was wondering if it would drop um,
for you.
overnight, and
Yeah.
that's why sleep is terrible. That's also detoxing, but it didn't do that. And I also drank it after dinner instead of before, so I wonder if that made a difference.
Yeah, because you already had some protein, so it slowed that release of the alcohol into your bloodstream. Okay, you want to look at your last one that you sent? Did we already look at this?
Oh, that's the.
That's
I
different.
only had one of those bad boys, so that
Oh,
was the.
okay.
I don't know. I must have said.
I must have just sent it together.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have one more that we can look at. So this is my smoothie. And I also want to say, we have this app, but you can only use it with the prescription CGMs. We found out you can't use it with over-the-counter ones, but it is cool because it uses AI and you just take a picture of whatever you ate and it calculates the macros. And it was pretty accurate. You said, Haley, you thought too, and you track your food a lot more than I do, I think.
Yeah, I think like how it said it was rosé. Sometimes it does silly things like that.
Yeah.
But it
So,
was pretty accurate on when I actually measured the stuff.
yeah. And so for my smoothie, like I just took this picture. Obviously, it didn't know I'd put cauliflower in this smoothie. So like you can edit it and be like, oh, that's not quite right. But these are the ingredients I put in there. And then it looks at the volume and like estimates. So this was like frozen cherries with frozen cauliflower rice, cocoa powder. I think I put some cinnamon in there, maybe some chia seeds and some protein powder. And so I was a little bit like wondering if my blood sugar would go up with a smoothie. because it's liquid, and so we can tend to consume them pretty quickly. And then it can get rapidly absorbed. Think about it. Like if you're chewing a salad or chewing vegetables or meat, your your mouth and your stomach and your intestines are all having like, your intestines aren't breaking it down, but the pancreas and gallbladder and liver and all that are having to really work hard. A smoothie is pretty digested already. Like it's pretty much ready for prime time. And so some people can see that those nutrients like leave and enter the bloodstream quickly and see the blood sugar spike up. But you can see I didn't do that. So the little gray dot there kind of towards the left is where I had the smoothie. I probably had it actually right before and just logged a little bit late. So it did go up a little bit and then down. And then, later it kind of went a little bit low, but I did hang out. I felt like around 70, a decent amount. And I didn't have symptoms though. So it may have just been my sensor was reading, a little low. But
How much cauliflower do you put in yours?
I eyeball it.
Okay.
A half a cup to a cup. I don't know.
That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I just dump it. I have like the Vitamix cups, well, I have a pitcher too, and my kids love smoothies. So if I make them for more than one person, I'll do it in the pitcher. Just for me, I do like that much cherries, like that much cauliflower. I just pour. I fill it up to the top with liquid, a scoop of protein powder, blend away. So yeah, probably a half a cup to a cup, depending on how much I pour in there. So about a tablespoon of cocoa powder. It's really good. It tastes like chocolate.
I was going to say, you can't taste a cup of cauliflower in there?
You cannot taste the cauliflower, I swear. Like if you're veggie adverse, do like cauliflower in your smoothie. You do frozen avocado in your smoothie too. And I'm not a huge avocado fan. I've shared that on the show before. It's like, it doesn't taste like anything to me. And it's like oily and mushy. So they sell like at HEB, if y'all are in Texas, they sell frozen chopped avocado in the frozen section. And so you can literally dump some of that into a smoothie and get some healthy fats and fiber. So smoothie tips. Yeah, so I think we kind of mentioned that I felt like I was becoming almost hyper aware with like tracking my blood sugar. I don't feel like I overanalyze things. I feel like we both pretty well know like what we're putting in our bodies. But did you notice it like messing with your mind at all or anything?
Absolutely. The first couple of days, then I just cared less about it. Mm-hmm. The first day I put it on, it was like in the 118 to 120. So I'm like, that's a little bit concerning. I think that was just the first day. But also, I slept terrible and I was pretty stressed that day. So I don't know if that was accurate. Because again, by maybe the 5th or the 6th day of lingo, I think it actually settled in it was hanging in the 70s, not in the 50s. So that seemed like it was at least normalizing a little bit. But yeah, I definitely wasn't wearing it today, but I do feel like subconsciously I knew I probably shouldn't eat that. And I wanted to see like a good line. So I did change
it impacted your behavior.
Yeah, it really did immediately. And not even anything crazy. It's just like I probably knew what that was going to do and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I don't want to have to see that.
Huh?
I don't want to have to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's on my food log, so nobody sees what I ate, but I can't feel on the CGMs.
But this is true. I'm looking at it. So
yeah. I love that.
So, yeah, I was really hesitant, not before we talked about it, but just resistant to it. I guess I just didn't want to put it on, but I really enjoyed it. I will experiment with some things. I don't think I plan on it forever, but just kind of experiment what we just talked about and see if there's some changes that actually impact blood sugar. If not, I will.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we see that in our patients too, where they start to recognize those patterns and they're like, I'm going to choose not to do this, or I'm going to choose to do this.
Yeah.
See it reflect on my data.
Yeah.
And we don't want people becoming obsessive or fearful of food because of the CGM data. We're really wanting to use these CGMs to create awareness and not anxiety or disordered relationship with food or anything like that.
I approach it usually because it is somebody like in the clinical setting with prediabetes. The advice from doctors and most people is like no carbs. So then when I have that conversation with them, what does that mean to you? And truly, not everybody knows what carbs are, so they think they're not eating them. But at least with wearing one, you can see how much, like, is it just the portion that matters? So you can still have whatever it is. And I think that is a big part of it. Because I had bread and it did nothing to my blood sugar. If I had 3 pieces, probably it would do something. But that way it gives them, I think, a lot more freedom to eat instead of just restricting completely or thinking that they're restricting completely.
Yeah, I love that, or hey, like, my blood sugar does go up with carbohydrates, but if I just make sure I get X amount of fiber and kind of watch the size, then it's fine. And I can enjoy eating that. It's not just eliminate this food group forever, this type of food forever, which is unsustainable for people.
Yeah, and not necessary either. So
yeah. So much more personalized recommendations can come versus like a blanket one size fits all approach. So who do you think would be most benefited by trying out a CGM for a short period of time to see, these patterns that we've been talking about?
I think people who think they have to restrict completely. That is one. I think at least you can see what food is doing to you, because that should be helpful, and you should want to know how is it impacting your health, because at that point it is related to your health. I think you have a good example of a weight loss plateau and thinking that we're doing everything right, and if it's just this tweak that the amount of our carb tolerance is not what we think it is, I think that's going to be very helpful to use. And probably if there's any suspicion of insulin resistance and you feel like you have tried a lot of things, I just think it's eye-opening. And it can be done in 1 month to 3 months and be done with it. But at least you have some information and can make some changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, it's really kind of, and Karen recommends that in her book too, is kind of a partner with somebody who can help you get in there, get what data you can get from it, and stop wearing it for a while, go implement those changes, and check back in 6 to 12 months and see how you're doing, and see if it's improved. Maybe 6 months versus wearing it all the time. And I think people think that too, like I have to continue to wear it month after month, and maybe I can swing $85 for 1 month to wear it. I can't swing $85 for every month, to wear it. And so I might as well just not do it. That's not the case at all, is what they're saying. Who should not wear a CGM? Who would not benefit, or where would it be contraindicated, do you think?
I think people who will become a little bit obsessed with it and then restrict that way too. I don't know where this flat line came from. But I think people also think that their line should be completely flat
all the time.
I don't know if this is TikTok, because I hear that a lot. Food is going, that's just the way that food impacts our body. So it's going to have a little bit of a spike. It's just managing that spike. So somebody who's going to become a little bit too obsessed with it.
Yeah. So and I said that last week too. If you eat some fruit, your blood sugar is going to go up. That's normal. But it's really, what is your body's capacity to handle that, and is it going to return, to normal in a reasonable amount of time? Is it adding additional stress to your body to keep it there? So people with disordered eating, people with a lot of health anxiety, stuff like that, I would not recommend this. More data is not always better if it's
then it's not going to help those numbers at all. One thing, and I don't really know, I think I might be making this in my head, but I'm wondering if metabolic inflexibility can manifest itself with a higher, I guess, in between the meals. If we're not actually burning fat, is it going to stay higher? So I don't know if that's right thinking, but I think that could be a helpful tool if that is the case.
I think that's really powerful what you just said, actually, this concept of metabolic inflexibility. So maybe let's break that down for people of We are created to be metabolically flexible. We should be able to get energy. Remember, we talked about the mitochondria a few shows back. I don't have my little diagram to show you guys, but we make energy, or ATP, in our mitochondria. And we are created to be able to get that energy made from glucose, from sugar, or from fat, from fatty acids. And so that's this ketosis concept. So if you've heard of people, I'm on the keto diet, what they're trying to do is achieve nutritional ketosis, where their body is creating ketones and creating energy from that instead of glucose. What can happen is we become metabolically inflexible, like you were saying, Haley, and stop being able to burn fat for fuel, and we become glucose tolerant, or what am I trying to say?
Dependent, or
Thank you.
okay.
So we stop being able to burn fat for fuel. We become glucose dependent, and so it's like it's that hangry, right? Like your bottom. So I think that those like wide, crashes is probably what we would see. But I would see the baseline. I would expect the baseline to be higher, and the spikes to be higher, right? But still spiking and crashing. But the baseline, probably being over 100, with that metabolic inflexibility. So yeah, I think that's huge. I think that's driving a lot of people here. So, but yeah. So what biggest takeaway for you, do you think?
That it really truly is something that you can look at and make a decision to change. And I think that is really empowering. And even, I mean, I know this stuff, but I had the banana bread as a good example is, figure out how to make it work. Is it okay if my blood sugar spikes occasionally with that? Yeah, but I think it's also worth trying to see what kind of changes can I make to that to impact it. And it is immediate. So, and it really doesn't take, I would say, the walking and the, I was surprised by the squats and the calves, because that is in some of the research. And that's something you can do in your office, anywhere. It didn't take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I could see it lower it. So
the squats and calf raises.
But just walking
you can do some squats and calf raises wherever you're at.
Yeah. So I think it's probably one of the best tools that we have, just for you to make a change and see that it's doing something.
Yeah. Okay, guys, there have been a lot of questions, so we're going to wrap this up soon. So if y'all have any last minute questions, drop them into the chat now so that we can make sure we answer them before we end this. Yeah, I don't know what my biggest takeaway is. I think, food impacts all of us differently, and different things impact us differently. So, some people will see their blood sugar go up after one bad night of sleep, and some people won't. Some people will see their blood sugar go up from a glass of wine, and some people won't. Some people can handle, 75 grams of carbs, and some people can't, at one sitting. So I think that personalization, and the freedom that can come with this is really important. Like you said, Haley, about, hey, if you've been told no carb or very low carb diet, you may not have to do that, and that can be very liberating to get that information. But on the other hand, sometimes the healthiest thing that you can do is to stop micromanaging your body when it comes to your health. And so if you find yourself doing this and feeling more stressed out and more anxious about your health, maybe take a break and work with a dietitian who can give you some guidance on how to do that. Or go see a counselor or therapist, if you're really struggling with like broad spectrum anxiety. Sometimes anxiety can just be caused from not knowing what to do and feeling confused and frustrated too, though. Haley, what do you think about putting it on? Are you going to demonstrate?
Oh, I can't. Give me.
Should she, guys? Just go get it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, she's like, I'm going to remove her from the screen here. So Archie Rowe, you asked, so there's a subscription too, and did the face to hand. So the subscription like comes with the CGM. So whenever you order the CGM, you get access to the app. Now with the 2 over the counter ones, with the Lingo, you can continue to access your data with your login, even when you're not wearing a CGM or you haven't ordered one. So say I wore a Lingo, in March, this past March, and I met with my doctor. I have an appointment coming up with my doctor in June. And let's say I have not ordered any more CGMs. I've worn all of the CGMs I've ordered. But I wanted to share my data with my doctor and say, hey, I wore my CGM. This is what, came of it. I could log into the Lingo app and still get that data as a spreadsheet and download it and send it to my doctor or take some screenshots. Or if I was meeting with a dietitian, I was like, well, I actually already tried that a few months ago. Let me send some screenshots and we can look at it. You can do that. With the Stello, you cannot access old data unless you have an active CGM. So that is another kind of frustration. So if you get a month's worth of Stello CGMs and you wear them, and then 3 months down the road, you start working with a dietitian or you go into your doctor for an appointment and you're wanting to pull up your data, you're not able to access it unless you have an active CGM. So you'd have to order a new one. You may be able to reach out to customer service and ask for them to share it with you again. Yeah, that would be kind of up to them, right? If they wanted to do that or not. So while we're waiting for Haley, I'm going to spotlight our email sign up. So this is an email sign up. If anyone wants to sign up, I don't send emails a ton. It's something that I need to get better at doing, but I'm not right now. It's mostly links to our shows and resources for you guys when I do send an email or like an update, like a new insurance company that we become in network with or introducing a new dietitian on our team. But right now, when you sign up for our emails, by scanning that QR code, you actually get a freebie. It's a PDF going over what is healthy eating from the perspective of a registered dietitian. So whenever me and Haley look at our patients' food logs, what are the things that we're looking for exactly? Like, what are the 5 things that we're looking for? It's a free PDF. You go into the QR code, you get an email, you click the button, and it takes you immediately to like a pop-up to download it. So make sure that you guys go scan that. And Haley's back, so let me add her back to stage. I'm going to keep the QR code. I'm going to keep the QR code up here, you guys, so that you guys can scan that if you need to. I don't want to miss that. Haley, are you going to do it on your arm this time?
No, I can't find it. It's okay. My Freestyle Libre one.
Darn. No worries. We can do it another time. Do a demonstration.
No, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
All right. Well, we'll do it again another time. That's okay.
Okay.
We both put them on and see who has like the worst facial reaction. It really isn't bad. It really isn't bad. So, okay. So we did kind of biggest takeaways. You guys sign up for this freebie. It's awesome. I think the biggest thing that this experience reinforced for me is, like I said, everyone's needs are different and that our bodies are constantly giving us information, but we have to learn how to interpret it and what to do with that information in order to see real change. So if you are curious about CGMs but overwhelmed by where to start, that's something we can help you navigate here at Nourished Thrive. Like we said, and we give a very individualized approach, as you guys have learned by now. I don't see any other questions. Are there any other thoughts you have, Haley, to close with?
No, I think if you're interested, the over-the-counter is a good place to start.
Yeah, for sure. So let me see if I can quickly type a banner. Here. We're going to do this one. I'm putting the names of these over-the-counter ones for you guys. There. Okay, so Stello and Lingo are the 2 names of those over-the-counter continuous glucose monitors. Stello and Lingo. I think Lingo is slightly less expensive than Stello. I think it's slightly less expensive than Stello. And let me grab this up really fast, guys. This is Karen's book. If you guys are not in a place where you can work with a dietitian, you're not in a state where we can see you, Karen's book, Hack Your Blood Sugar. I met with her a few weeks ago. So go watch that if you haven't watched it. It's a really good book. It's a really good place to start. If you're wanting to try this out and don't have access to a dietitian, you're not in a place where we can help you guys. Go check out Karen's book. It's really good. She's a lot of information. Who you read it to? Do you have any?
No, I think it's just a really good book for the layperson. Like how it's written, it's very actionable.
Yeah, it's very readable too. Yeah. So, cool. Well, good. Well, that's all we've got for tonight. Again, if you have not yet, please subscribe to the Eclipse Pain Network channel. We'd be so grateful for your support, and that way you don't miss whenever we drop new episodes, new videos. And give our video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Click the share button and send it to people who need to know this information. If you have a loved one who's been seeing their A1C creep up, or they've been trying to lose weight and have hit a plateau, or feel like they're doing all the things and aren't seeing a difference, or maybe they've just been diagnosed with diabetes or prediabetes, send the show over to them, and this can, really help them not feel so overwhelmed maybe. That's all we've got for tonight, I think, and we will see you guys back next week. Thank y'all.
Bye. Thank you.